Okay, this episode is going to be all about getting our electrolyzer setup up and running so we can wean ourselves off this algae. It's uh, it's a bad habit to have, and we need to get over it. The first thing I want to do is I want to fix this toilet. It seems I completely missed that I didn't put in the exit pipe on this. That was very, very sloppy. So this toilet has not been functioning this whole time, and I've been having duplicants complaining about it, and I never even noticed. Um, I've done some searching around, and I found cool steam. I've got two cool steam vents that I've been able to see so far. I've got some neutronium over here, so there's another vent or geyser behind that. And down here I found another one, and over here, yes, I've managed to find a third one over here. So there's three of the six other ones that should be available. And there's my second cool steam vent. I'm not going to tap into the cool steam vents just yet. Honestly, I don't really have the tech to manage them properly, and right now I don't want to have to deal with all that heat. So what I'm going to do this episode is go down here, core out some of this so I can get access to the nullifier. And I'm going to want to set up an electrolyzer up here so that I can run my oxygen down here, loop it through the coal biome and then back out again. I'm not going to worry too much about getting it to the perfect temperature just yet. I just want to make sure I've got oxygen coming in from polluted water. And for the polluted water, I'm going to use this polluted water up here. And probably this one as well. And there's a third pile over here, so I've got lots of polluted water to sieve. Now, before I get into all of this though, I'm going to want to put down some oxygen in here. The problem at the moment is every time my dupes come down here, they basically have to pop back out again 10 seconds later because they can't breathe, which is problematic. So we're just going to finish this off. Actually, I am going to use iron ore for that power cable run. There's some iron ore nearby, so why not? Then I'm going to want to get access to this anti-entropy nullifier as well. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to dig through a bunch of ice, which I'd rather not do, but c'est la vie. Oh, it's a bunch of granite, and there's some wolframite in there. New printables. Slicksters, tasty. Gold amalgam. How much gold do I have? Actually, I can't read it just yet. Narcoleptic. Would prefer not. Flatulent and interior decorator. You know what? I will take the gold amalgam. I could get those larva eggs, but I really don't care. Print. How's my metal ores doing? Plenty of gold, plenty of copper, not too much ore. Just give me 1 second. Okay, so that's that done. I'm going to need to... Why is it if I have no power? What got broken? Oh my. Oh, here we go. Much better. Alright, while we're at it, I'll deconstruct some of these doors. I don't need them anymore. I can also get rid of you. Yeah, we'll get rid of you as well. Okay, electrolyzer setup. The build I'm going to go with is 4 tiles high. And I'm going to do that to here. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14 tiles long. Excellent. Though I probably should wait until they finish doing this down here. Ah. And this is why we put in electrolyzers. Cuts down on the travel distance. This way Dig doesn't spend nearly as much time actually running back up to get more air. This is actually very important when you... Ooh, that's actually melting stuff. I can live with that. But this prevents... well, this actually just speeds up how long it takes him... reduces the amount of time he has to spend down here and make sure that this gets done quicker. Though the heat given off by this is actually going to cause some of that ice to melt. That is really frustrating. Igneous rock tile. Actually, insulated igneous rock tile. Yeah, I don't want them walking in that water. All right, while they're busy doing that. Here. Okay, what I'm trying to put together here is an electrolyzer system. Now, one of the things about these is they're my preferred method of generating oxygen. And this one is my preferred type because it generates exactly 1 kilo of oxygen per second consistently. It just doesn't stop. Some of the other ones will generate 800 and change or something like that if you're using a single electrolyzer, but I prefer to have enough coming through that I don't have to care. As in, I know I'm getting exactly 1 kilo per second, and that allows me to actually, well, calculate things and get things done in a timely fashion. If I'm not sure exactly how much I'm getting, I find that very disconcerting. I prefer to have a full pipe of oxygen and know what I'm getting into. Now we've got 2 hatches out, 2 more on the way. Stone hatches are coming along nicely. Excellent. Oh, I just realized all my dupes are going through the bathroom in and out to get... Fair enough. Oh, some people will be concerned that I'm wasting so much oxygen out here. I I understand your concerns, but from where I'm looking, well, the way I like to play, I don't want my dupes having to run back and forth. If you've got your dupes running back and forth, they're going to be wasting time. And if they're wasting time, you still got to pay oxygen for everyone. I'm currently running 7 dupes, each one consuming 1 kilo of oxygen, well, 200 grams, is it 100? 100 grams of oxygen per second, 600 seconds, so that's 60 kilos of oxygen for each dupe, 36, 42. Yeah, it's a lot. We're consuming an awful lot of oxygen every cycle. And if I have to waste a few cycles running back and forth, that's going to be a killer, so I try and avoid it. Oh my god, this is all done. I gotta stop yakking. Okay, automation. Atmos sensors. Why is that inconsistent? Perfect. Power. I don't want to activate the system just yet. Once the oxygen down here is fully pressurized, I will rip out the power cable. I'm using wolframite here at the end just because it has very good thermal conductivity. It's got much better thermal conductivity than most of the other pipes. And for the rest of it, I'm going to use granite. Actually, while I'm at it, let's get rid of all of that and maybe replace that all with granite as well. Granite has the highest thermal conductivity of all of the rock-based ones or the mineral-based ones. Now, that should get me a decent amount of cooling into that oxygen. However, when I come out of here, I'm going to need to insulate the pipes again, so we're right back to insulated igneous rock. Okay, I believe the skill point issue has been fixed in the most recent patch. Anyway, Dig Dug, straight into improved carrying. He'll have exo seats shortly. Tinker Dug, you've got the 2 electrical engineers. We're going to give you improved carrying as well. Beastie 2, you're going straight into improved farming and then right on to critter ranching. I would actually say getting the electrolyzer set up first. It's the second big killing point in the game. Many people, when they first start out, they'll have struggle a bit at the start, but once they get through the early bits, like we've done already, and they have to get on to setting up an electrolyzer, that's when things start to become problematic. The reason being, they don't get told this has an output. The output on the electrolyzers is always 70 degrees, which means they build an electrolyzer in their base, they end up cooking it, the temperature goes above 30 degrees, all their crops stop growing, and they die. So then they were advised to go build it in a cold biome. This is what happened to me, actually. And then we go to build it on the in a cold biome, but cold biomes are not located right beside your base. They're located a fair distance away. And then what happens is when you go to try and build it, you don't have your priorities on your duplicant set up correctly. So what happened to me was my dupes would come out, build a few tiles, and then run back again. And it was taking them forever. For example, I think that we've been at this for about 2 cycles now, and they've already done a fair decent amount of construction. Before it was 8, 10 cycles, and they still had not completed everything I'd given them. This leads to lots and lots of problems. But first, Shy Nymph, don't care. Triophobia, I prefer somebody who could dig. Athletics, construction, cooking, germ resistant. Suit wearing. Dig. Twinkle toes. Squeamish and gastrophobia. Those I can live with. They might actually make a good second dog's body. Dog's body out. Triophobia. No. I think we've got another dog's body. We're going to be dog's body too. Okay, this is dog's body out. I'm going to lock my other duplicants inside, or my other dog's body inside the base. And what I mean by that is I'm going to put in a door here and stop my regular dog's body from getting out here. I don't want my regular dog's body getting involved in all the works going on out here. I want to make sure they stay in here and take care of local stuff. Now, for this dog's body, we'll also downgrade their build and dig, and we don't want them doing farming, we don't want them doing research, and we don't want them doing cooking. Their only job is to go around and carry things. We're going to be dumping them straight into increasing their carry capacity. Now, do we have a bed for them? Yes, we do. Okay, stick them on a second schedule. Dog's body out. Perfect. And do they have a dining table? Excellent. Okay, that's 8 for now. They still have not finished all that construction work. I think that's the first time I've managed to slow them down long enough to do that. Okay. Actually, is that all granite? Doesn't look like it. Ah, it is perfect. Now, I just want to finish walling this in, just so I can bring my piping through there easier. Actually, how am I going to do this? I might just have to bite the bullet and let some of that chlorine out. It's not the end of the world. Now, I'm trying to cut down on my usage of copper ore. I'm starting to run a bit low, and you only find copper ore in your starting biome. Now, I do have quite a bit left. I've got 14 tons, so it's not like I should be really rushing about this. I just like to be safe. I'm a little bit paranoid in those instances. And while I've got the gold amalgam, I might as well use it. Okay, sloppy. Stop letting the chlorine out. Come on, hurry up. Oh, when you change buildings over here to priority 6, every single building you ever try and make from then on in will be changed to that priority. So make sure you take note of that. I like to try and keep everything on 5 so that my priority system doesn't get too messed up. And we actually have the piping system built. Excellent. Okay, now I'm going to need to rip out the power for this, which is going to cut off the oxygen production down here, but I think we've got enough oxygen down here to make sure our dupes will be fine for a while. Yeah, that'll work. So in that case, let's cut power to these suckers. Also, I'm going to need to get my hands on some of that tasty polluted water up there. So I'm going to build a polluted water tank. Now currently Dog's Body is, or Dig Dug is the only person who can dig abyssalite. So I've made all of those priority 6. That way Dig Dug will always come along to try and build that. All the rest of the duplicants can take care of the stuff that doesn't require that. So if you see beasties coming along to take care of these, and Dig Dug should be spending his entire time just building this no matter what. Once that's cracked open, we can drop all that water down there, and we're going to set up a water pump. Now, when I'm putting in the power here, I want to make sure that this thing's not going to overheat. In fact, everything in here is made out of gold amalgam or gold. Gold amalgam increases the overheat temperature by 50 degrees. And by default, everything has a base overheat temperature of 75, well, most items. By making it out of gold amalgam or gold, depending on, like, smart batteries can only be made out of refined metals. Hydrogen generators can be made out of raw metals. By making this out of gold and this out of gold amalgam, I've increased their overheat temperature to 75, or by 50 degrees, bringing them up to 125. At 125, that means the net gases coming out of this, which are 70 degrees, will actually act as coolant and keep this nice and cool. which is kind of nice for us. Now, igneous rock. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right. Dope. I may not be able to get those insulated tiles in at this rate. Never mind. Sorry about the noise there. That was just a food alarm. Now, power cable. Don't want to connect that one just yet. Actually, what did I do with the plumbing? That is incorrect. Okay, what I'm trying to do here is I need to actually filter that water, but I don't want my duplicants to have to walk too far. I just realized I don't have insulated pipes. Oops. Minor mistake. Forgot to put in the actual power transformer here. While I'm here, actually. Brains dug. Very close to exosuit training, and the morale is still good. Perfect. Yeah, long commutes. I bet I'm on the edge of the map. Actually, I'm doing that incorrectly. That should be going across there. Okay, next up. Gourmet allergies. Ooh, 5 ranching. Oh, where were you 10 minutes ago? Well, okay. Hours ago. Creativity. Nope. Uncultured. Don't care. Gastrophobia. Tidy supply ranch. Oh, I'm severely tempted to actually hire them right now. No. I'm good for the moment. I'm going to wait for a little bit longer before I increase my dupe count. I'd have to actually add in a second bedroom, add in another dining hall. I want to get the electrolyzer set up and running, so we're good to go. Okay, I'm just going to set those two off for the time being. I don't want them accidentally pumping anything when I plug them in. Excellent, improved plumbing. Insulated liquid pipes, which is exactly what we want because the water coming out of this water sieve is going to be 40 degrees. That used to actually just override things. And it still does. Perfect. Also gets me the liquid shut off, liquid reservoir, hydro sensor. Alright, gold amalgam. Okay, who earned the skill point today? Hey, Beastie. Well, they're not going to be getting out, so I might as well improve their ranching. Okay, fine. Art Dog. Got Masterworks. Time to go into carrying. We need to get you into Exosuit Engineer, though you will be spending a bit more time in the base coming up shortly. I was really hoping that chlorine would actually compress better, but it doesn't seem to be working. This will just make more space down here for a chlorine pit, and that way I can get rid of some of this annoying chlorine that's floating around the place. It's going to give me some hydrogen issues for a while, but it'll eventually float back up once the algae pumps out enough oxygen. Oh, actually, we don't want to make that out of copper. I need to make the smart battery out of gold. For the time being, we have 4 stone hatches, 3 of which are adults, and in that case, we're going to go down to the critter wrangling. Stone hatch, perfect. Though we don't have any new stone hatch eggs going through. Excellent. That means we're keeping up with supply. Calorie-wise, still on the rise, mostly gristleberry, though we do have some omelets coming in now. I might want to actually start digging up some of these gristleberries, or bristleberries, just for now, because I don't want to be wasting my water, and I definitely have plenty of calories for now. You know what? The amount of blocks I'd have to place to get to that one, it's not actually worth it. Perfect. That should get rid of most of the chlorine, though it's going to release some more hydrogen. Oh well, swings and roundabouts. Now, next up, smart battery. And we just barely have enough gold to place this sucker. I want this power system to be self-contained. So I want this to power the pump, and I want it to also power all the electrolyzer setup. And that was a really bad positioning of that ladder. I just want to let that pinch of pepper nut grow. And I can't get through there. I want to be able to get access to the pepper nuts on the other side of this. Oh, this is a good time to point out proximity priority. Every single command you give out has a sort of a fractional priority assigned to it. So for example, here you'll see this all build errands 0.38. So there's a 0.38 additive, or 0.38 of a priority bonus to deconstruct commands. Now if you look down at the build command, that has a 0.12. So this means build commands have a 0.12 fractional additive to their priority. So since these are both level 5 commands, and the duplicants that are handling them both have their priority settings up here set the same, that means if there's ever a deconstruct command and a build command going on that are both the same level, they will always go for the deconstruct commands first. You notice this a lot when well, this is the first time you'll ever notice it. That was for me anyway. Dig commands have a 0.12 multiplier as well, so dig and build commands have the exact same fractional additive, meaning they'll all be treated the same way. Construction supply, also the exact same. Now I don't want to get into too much details on these because I haven't really gone through all of them in depth, but this system is put in place so that you don't scream at your dupes. For example, the supply commands for life support systems have a much higher multiplier on them than, say, a storage command. So the reason these were put in place, these little fractional additives, if you have, say, a level 5 for restock your oxygen diffuser, and then you come back and find that all your dupes are suffocating because your dupes are spending all their time stocking up a storage bin that's also at level 5, you would be quite reasonably angry at them. But the fractional additive on this means that this oxygen diffuser will always get supplied before an equal level storage bin command. However, this becomes problematic the further you get out from your base, and what you can do with your priority system is go up here and activate enable proximity. This means they'll go to the closest job of the highest priority. So if you have, say, a deconstruction command over here and a build command over here, whichever one the dupe is closest to, they'll go to first. That's just very important as in late game as your base gets bigger. But early on, I'm quite happy to just leave this as it is, and it's actually quite well done. It does mean things work out pretty nicely. Now, what's going on? Let's get some of these other replacement parts in place. I'm going to want to wall this up at some point as well. We'll deconstruct you. We're almost ready to wall this sucker in. Okay. Now, one of the other reasons I wanted to go down here and knock this out is I want to crack in here so once I seal this up, I won't have access to the ice biome. So I kind of want to have a secondary access point. which is why I've cracked open this part down here. And I am going to put in some tiles across this side so we can get in here. I also want to leave those plants there alive because they're actually very useful. They're going to help me with barbecue later on. Those two pepper plants there, even growing wild, they'll produce enough pepper nuts to keep, well, assuming I have the meat, they'll keep one dupe in barbecue constantly, which is really, really nice. Okay, and I'm going to keep an eye on you. You're going to try and crawl up here or do something silly, I just know it. Okay, never mind. My bad. Oh, they have fixed the skill point issue. That's good, because... dog's buddy. Okay, dog's buddy doesn't need the exosuit training. They're not leaving the base. So what I'm going to get them into is medical compounding, medical care. They already have an affinity for it, so that's not going to cost me any morale to put them into it. It's effectively 0 for that, so all it's costing me is the skill point. So they're going to be my in-base doctor. Since they're not going to be leaving, it's very unlikely they'll be exposed to germs. Dog's body out, your first skill point is going to go straight into improved carrying. You're going straight for exosuit training. Now, let's see. Improved cooking? Yes. Brains Doug, you're still on advanced research. Dig Doug, still on super hard digging. Yep. Beastie, actually I haven't given you your new ranching hat. Oh, they literally just magically pulled the hats out of thin air. Nice. Yeah, but pumping oxygen to wherever you need it is usually a good way to keep gas pressures nicely organized. Last thing I need to do is I've now got throughput there, so let's wall this sucker in. Actually, let's make sure I've got all the wiring in place first. No, I do not. Actually, wait, no, I do. That goes that way, that goes that way. Yeah, we're good. Ventilation. Oh, yep, that's what I was missing. Now, I'm just using regular gas pipe here. And what I want to do is I want to have... Actually, I'm not going to hook that up just yet. I need to dump out this gas. Oh, come on. +5 ranching with ranch, suit wearing, operate. Now they're just throwing ranchers at me. That's just torture. Twinkle toes. Narcoleptic and flash. No, thank you. Flatulent quick learner. No, thank you. Martley seeds. You know what? I'm going to leave that one there and I might just pick up that rancher later. So we've almost got the system up and running and ready to go. All we got to do is feed in some water through here into the electrolyzer setup. then what will happen is we'll be sucking out the hydrogen through the top, which we will dump into our hydrogen generator, but not straight away. At the start, this is going to pump out an awful lot of nasty oxygen because there's already oxygen in there. Also, we're going to have to lock these doors, and then we're going to have to seal in this side as well. We want to make sure that heat stays in there. I should probably actually insulate the bottom of that as well. Sloppy. This is why it's so much easier making tutorials. You don't get to see all these little sloppy bits you keep forgetting to do. Okay, you got me. I did not see that coming. Yeah, night shifts still don't have many duplicants available. Okay, this is just me being a little bit tidy. I like to make sure everything is pulled out of here so it's not going to, well, dirty up the place. I'm going to seal this up as well, so I'm not going to get a chance to come in here and remove any of this stuff later. Now, oxygen, temperatures, plumbing, fine, ventilation. It's going to go down there, come back up and go back to my base. Hydrogen's going to go out that way, perfect. Yeah, I'm just putting in these pipes here because I'm probably going to want to use them at some point. And that is the end of that. Perfect. Now, let's fire this sucker up and see if she works. Simplest thing to do, plug in the power. Oh, one final thing. Two final things. Let's actually just set those to auto. Ah, excellent. Beastie 2 is ready to ranch. Nice. Now we can actually fire it up. Okay, power grid is connected. Okay, why is there no power going through? I have that backwards. Okay. Okay, power provided. Skill point earned. Okay, now before that gets started, I just want to get some commands out to my dupes so they're not wasting time. Actually, there's not really much for them to do. Actually, there is one or two projects they could be getting around to. One thing I'd like to do is put in a ventilation point down here. I want to dump oxygen out down here because I want to make sure that this whole place is fully oxygenated. Okay, polluted water is going to come all the way back this way. In fact, I am going to power that polluted water sieve off this. I want to make sure that the power is all contained from one area. We're going to deconstruct all of those and deconstruct all of that. Oops. Okay, so we're finally processing the polluted water into clean water. Then it will run along this insulated pipe because it's 40 degrees. I don't want to overheat anything just yet. And it's going to pop into those electrolyzers. Now before it gets to those electrolyzers, I want to actually turn these on to start getting rid of the oxygen that's in there. A little bit of carbon dioxide, but that never hurt anybody. Okay, not quite true, but close enough. Okay, so the hydrogen's getting pushed up here, which is what we want, and the oxygen is going to get pushed down the bottom. So soon we're going to want to get this in on the action. However, if you'll notice here on the oxygen overlay, there's still quite a bit of oxygen that's in here. So when I turn this on, some of that oxygen is going to get pulled out by this. Unfortunate, but it's the way it is. Okay, once it's above 750 degrees, I want you to start, and then we're going to copy that setting to all of them. So long as the pressure in there is above 750, those pumps will turn on. And you notice this one is pumping out mostly oxygen still, but after a while that's going to even out. The oxygen is just going down here, some of it's getting dumped off in this biome, the rest is passing through. And if we check the oxygen here when it comes out, it's minus 22 degrees. Now I'll get back to why that's a good thing later, but for the time being, you'll see here this is now all hydrogen. So that's a good thing. This means we can use this to power our hydrogen. Actually, I probably should have left myself more space for that. That's a good point, Francis. Why didn't you do that? Oh, we're actually dumping the hydrogen out here. Also bad. Let's deconstruct that quickly. Priority 6. Okay, now it's actually starting to get up to speed. Now it's all oxygen coming at the bottom, it's all hydrogen coming at the top, which is what we wanted. The oxygen going back to base is about 17 degrees or minus 17, which is pretty useful for us. This will help cool down our base. As well as that, this little stretch of pipe here is going to act as a sort of reserve. As in the hydrogen is going to accumulate here, and then the excess we're going to send along here, where it's going to end up going back to base eventually. For the time being, I'm just going to leave it in there, but that will be something I'll need to take care of sooner rather than later. If the hydrogen backs up into the system, the whole thing will get clogged up and contaminated. But this huge long stretch of pipe is bringing that oxygen back to base. It's still at minus 10 by the time it gets back here, and it's getting dumped into our base. This provides cooling and oxygen simultaneously. Now, all my dupes are idle because I've been spending too long oogling at the screen. But what I'm going to do as well, and I'm not going to cover it in this video because this would get too long, I'm going to split off some of this hydrogen as well, and I'm going to send it back down here, and I'm going to use that hydrogen to feed the anti-entropy nullifier. The anti-entropy nullifier will keep this whole biome cool, and it will never go above whatever temperature I select. That will make sure that this oxygen production system will never need any maintenance, and I like a lack of maintenance in my builds. Additionally, because I've got that down there, I can probably stick in a second electrolyzer setup down here to dump in even more oxygen if needs be. Or up here, I'm not sure, I haven't decided yet. That will give me enough oxygen to support 20 dupes. And that cold oxygen I'm pumping in is going to help compensate for the lack of wheezeworts. I've only got 2 wheezeworts, and the temperature in here is getting a little bit toasty in places. However, my crops are still doing quite well. Probably because I've just started dumping icy cold oxygen in on top of them. Also, you'll notice there's floral scent germs here. That's why I've been avoiding duplicants with allergies. Now, one last point I would like to make. Well, not a last point, but at least a point I would like to make. My algae at the moment is still at 7.6 tons. And it's not like I'm dying for algae. I have several pockets of algae I haven't tapped into, like this one over here. But the reason I rush to get this set up done is, if you say, look at this, here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, we have about 16 tiles of polluted water there. 16 full tiles. Each one's worth about 1,000 kilos. Each one of those tiles is worth the same as 1 ton of algae. Roughly 1 ton. So in this one tank of water here, I have more oxygen than the entire stockpile of algae I currently contain. One of the things that will kill you in this part of the game is when you're trying to build one of these things and you have your on the edge of the map and you have your priorities set incorrectly. Your duplicants won't come out and build it correctly. They'll keep running back to base and doing all sorts of stupid stuff that you don't want to deal with. So make sure your priorities are set correctly or they'll kill you. This is the point in the game where I actually knuckled down and started doing some research on priorities to figure out what was causing me to die or be unable to get this completed in a timely manner. Polluted water is your lifesaver. It'll provide you with all the oxygen you're going to need. I'm also going to grab that tank up there and dump that in here at some point. And I'm going to have to put oxygen, a deodorizer up there to stop the polluted water oxygen getting out. That polluted water is going to keep off-gassing polluted oxygen, which I'm going to need to change into clean oxygen. It's not the end of the world if it gets out. I just prefer it not to happen. I'm also probably going to leave this pit open here and maybe enlarge it even more so I can dump in more of the CO2. I want to clean out that area as well. By and large, this is how you set up your electrolyzer system. The only thing we'll cover in the next one that I don't really want to squeeze into this one is this excess hydrogen. I'm going to dump that back into my base, probably throw in a couple of hydrogen generators somewhere around here, and I'm going to plug those hydrogen generators into my grid just so I can burn off all the excess hydrogen. You cannot let that hydrogen accumulate. But that's for the next video. Anyway, I hope this helps you with your electrolyzer setups and shows you how it works. Do remember, it pumps out exactly 1 kilo of oxygen constantly, forever and ever and ever, so long as you need it. And if it does back up because you're not consuming it all, it won't make a difference. It draws evenly from both sides. So even if you're just running one duplicant or you're running 10, it will provide them enough oxygen. But if you're running 10 duplicants, please only run 9 on it. You don't want to have just barely enough. Anyway, hope this helps you out. Good luck.